I'm Carly Box from the Barracks Gym, where we are training ADF, police and firefighter applicants for service. And today we are going to talk about the PFA and some considerations that you need to have. Police and fireys have their own equivalent of that. The principles are still the same across the board. Throughout your recruiting process, you're all conditioned to believe that the PFA is that peak level of fitness. That's the elite, that's the fittest that you ever want to be. It's actually not the case. In actual fact, the PFA is the least fit that you ever want to be. It's a job criteria. Okay, it's a benchmark that you need to meet, but it doesn't mean that you are fit enough for service, and it certainly doesn't mean that you are fit enough to get through Kapuka, the Academy, Cerberus, RMC, wherever you are headed. So the minimum standard of your PFA is actually not a measure of how fit you need to be. So I don't want you guys to get tricked into thinking that by reaching that standard that you are essentially going to be fit enough for service, because it's just not the case. The standard you are required to reach for your PFA is not going to be enough to get you through basic training. And there's a few reasons why, and we're going to go through that. Sure, the PFA, it's going to get you a ticket on the bus, right? You're going to get your little certificate with the king, and you're going to get a photo with your parents, chuck it on your social media, go, hey, look at me, I'm in the army now, get on the bus, and then that's it really. That's all it really prepares you for. It doesn't actually prepare you for the rigors of basic training, and we want to try and avoid that. We want to try and make sure that you guys are going to be able to be fit enough beyond those standards to get through basic training, and not just get through, but smash it and get through comfortably so you can actually enjoy it. So if you are barely reaching those minimums, so like your 6.1 and 4 push-ups or no push-ups, depending what service you're going for, it doesn't set you up for success. It really doesn't. So I want to try and make sure that we can impart this knowledge onto you. And that knowledge comes from the thousands of serving members that we now have that are former TBG members who are able to give us his feedback to let us know that, hey, it's actually not enough. You actually need to be really, really fit. So I'm glad I actually trained with TBG to make sure I was fit enough. So here's a few reasons why, right? So once you get down to basic training, the PTIs are super strict, especially with their technique requirements for things like push-ups, beep test turnarounds, etc. So if you can only just get enough push-ups barely, if they deduct one from your score for incorrect technique, do you have any spare up your sleeve? Do you have any spare push-ups there that you can then use to go, oh, well, that's all right. At least I can do double the minimum amount? Or would you rather go into it thinking, oh, I can absolutely smash this out of the park. I'm going to get 30 push-ups, no worries. So I don't really need to worry about it. I know I'm going to be fine. I think I know what I would rather. So if you're not in a position to have spare push-ups, I'm going to use push-ups as the example, or spare shuttles on the beep test up your sleeve, then you really need to make sure that you are working harder to get beyond those minimums. The second is that your instructors down at basic training expect more from you. So you're a serving member now, you're in the military or you're in the police, so they actually expect more of you. So when you're going through your recruiting process, wherever that was, you kind of had your hand held through, they were selling it to you like it's going to be a really great opportunity, and it is a great opportunity, but you don't want to mess up that opportunity by not being fit enough and then ruining the opportunity for yourself. So they're actually going to expect more from you now that you're not civilians anymore. So if you are still acting like a civilian and acting with that bare minimum attitude, then they're not going to be very impressed. Not only that, but whatever you used to get away with at your civvy gyms, unless you're trained at TBG where you got away with nothing, but whatever you used to get away with at your civvy gyms, you're not going to get away with now that you're in the military. It's just as simple as that. And the third one is that you're expected to be part of a team, and this is really, really important. So if you can't keep up and everyone has to cover for you, carry your equipment, basically carry you, drag you along, they keep having to run back to try and collect you, etc., does that make you an effective member of that team, or does that make you someone who's dragging ass and is a burden on the team? Have a real good think about that and decide which person you would rather be. I think I know which one I would rather be. So this is why we need to get you guys to train to get well beyond those minimum standards, right? So we can help you with that. That's what we do. That's our bread and butter. So if you are interested in smashing those minimum standards and getting yourself well up and above those PFA standards, just have a little look down in the comments below. You'll be able to click the link that takes you through to where you need to go to start your journey to train with TBG. But I want to talk more about this, right? Because the job that you have applied for essentially means that you are like the elite of your country. You are the elite of your community, right? So you're there to keep us safe. You're there to keep this country safe. You're there to keep the community safe, keep me safe on the roads, keep me safe in a shopping centre, keep me safe if I go to an event. You are at the forefront. You're at the spearhead of of eliteness of this country, right? It's a really serious responsibility, and I want to make sure you guys understand the depth of that responsibility. And if you can't step up to do what is required of you at any given point in time, then you're essentially not giving 100% effective service. And that is what you signed on the dotted line when you appointed, enlisted, went to the academy. You signed on the dotted line with the promise that you were going to provide 100% effective service. So if you're essentially not doing that, what are you doing there, right? So what kind of serving member do you want to be? Have a think about it. I know that I always used to take pride in being fit, healthy, combat ready, tried to be as good at my job as I could be to make sure that I was going to be an effective member and give 100% effective service at that. People in this country rely on you. People in this community rely on you. It is a massive responsibility, and it has to be taken seriously. Like, it's not a joke to just go, oh yeah, I got 6.1 and 4 push-ups or no push-ups, whatever. No, it's serious. You guys need to be fit. You need to be able to chase the crims down in Queen Street Mall when they stole, Marilyn's handbag off her. You need to be able to, get inside a house that you could come across anything, and you need to be able to apprehend whoever's in there. If you're not fit enough and strong enough, then do I want you busting through the doors of my house? Well, hopefully no one ever has to, but I don't, do I want you busting through the doors of my friend's house when she really needs your help? Probably not. I probably want the other guy who's fitter and stronger and takes the responsibility seriously. So, are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? And is the training that you're doing relevant and effective enough? And is it giving you improvement? Because if it's not giving you improvement, it's probably not relevant and effective enough. And you need to have a real good look at your training to make sure it can not only get you across the line, but well above those minimum standards. And if not, then you need some help. And we can help you out with that. And that's what we want to do. So, you can get in contact with us to make sure we can help you do that. So when you get to Kapuka, there's actually no requirement to pass a BFA, and this is something that's been brought in the last few years, and it's a little bit frustrating from the serving member end because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's an accepted standard once you're serving in the ADF. Like if you showed up to a regiment, battalion, squadron, whatever, and told your new boss that you hadn't passed a BFA, they're probably not going to be all that impressed. In fact, they're probably just going to sigh and be like, okay, probably a few more choice words in there. But, as applicants, you've kind of been conditioned to believe that it's okay because this is a standard that is accepted during your time as a recruit. And, I can tell you right now that once you post into a new unit, no one's going to find that information amusing. They're going to find it really frustrating. They're not going to like hearing it. And if anything, they're going to be kind of annoyed that they now have the burden of putting you through remedial training to get you up to passing a BFA in a time where all units are already so busy prepping for sea, prepping for deployments, prepping for domestic operations, flood assist, all that kind of stuff. Going field, doing courses, maintaining equipment. Like there's so much to do that then having the added burden of trying to get someone across the line on what is essentially a baseline standard is really frustrating. So having a new member show up without these proficiencies just adds to the training load of your chain of command that they just simply don't have the time for. And, you're taking away from other cooler, better training that you could be doing that is essentially going to be more effective. And just like the PFA being the least fit you ever want to be, the BFA is also is like the next step to that. That is also the least fit you ever want to be. So it's a baseline standard. It's a baseline level of fitness. So the B actually stands for basic fitness assessment. Your fitness standard that you should be maintaining and not have to train for. You should just always be fit enough to pass it. If your boss came down and went, surprise, BFA tomorrow morning, you'd be like, sweet, no worries. Or on the day, surprise, doing a BFA now. You'd be like, oh, yep, no worries. I'm not even concerned about it. If they do that and you're like, I'm actually like, probably not going to pass. Like that's, you don't want to be that person. You really don't. You want to be able to say yes to opportunities. You want to keep yourself fit, healthy, strong, have all your personal affairs in order, have everything sorted so that you can say yes to opportunities and be an effective member, give 100% effective service. You want to be able to be called upon at any time, combat effective, to serve your country in whatever capacity is needed of you. It's really important. It's a really serious part of the job. So the bottom line is that you should be enlisting at the fittest you've ever been, like the absolute fittest you've ever been, not at just meeting the fitness standard. Like you should be at peak fitness, right? And ready to improve on that from there. you want to get well beyond those PFA standards and either be passing or very close to passing a BFA. So if you need some help in getting yourself fit enough for service, just click all the links below. It's not hard to get hold of us. We've got a website, Instagram, Facebook, emails. Like it's not hard to get hold of us. We can really help you out, and we really want to. We've got programs that you can download straight onto an app. But if you're wanting more support and something that's like a little bit more, specific to what it is that you're trying to work towards, then you can look at jumping on our online coaching. Either option is going to be super effective, and either option is going to get you where you need to be. You just have to turn up and do the work. Thanks very much. Make sure you subscribe and share this with anyone who you think would benefit. See you later.